McClure et al. 2011 suggests that we need different leadership and skill sets than the ones we currently use. Those skill sets are exactly those that we need to be teaching our students. To be creative problem solvers, creative thinkers, good communicators, and innovative thinkers. The most vital qualities for a leader can be summed up as follows. To be a vision builder, maintaining direction and focus on the future. To be an influencer through passion and inspiration. To advocate for responsibility, expectation and accountability that is about excellence, performance and improvement. To advocate for students, parents and community, recognising the importance of all stakeholders. To be a collaborator, innovator who creates an environment for a positive working relationships and builds trust. McClure et al. 2011, Maxwell 2005, University of Kent 2009. The leadership skills for a leader can be summed up as follows. To identify and articulate the vision. To have high expectations of performance. To use a model for collaborative decision making. To measure and monitor organisational success. And to communicate clearly. E-learning plays an important role in supporting the school vision of the students becoming successful and powerful learners who are active and responsible citizens. It has been found that the current learning management system is not meeting the needs of the students and the staff. We are going to compare and contrast the current LMS with Google Classroom. Trial Google Classroom, including Google Sites, and evaluate the effectiveness of this. What is needed for this initiative to be successful is to consider all of these steps to implement systemic change. Firstly, engage all stakeholders in the moral purpose, the why. This is the driving force behind this planned change, which is to increase student achievement and learning. The community needs to understand why for us to have their support for this change. Secondly, to build capacity through policy development, equitable resource allocation, build people's capacity through professional development. Thirdly, for all of us to understand the change process requires time, energy, collective ownership and commitment. Fourthly, to develop a culture for learning amongst the staff. Staff learn from each other and then become committed to improvement. Fifth, develop cultures of evaluation that serve for knowing where we are at, next steps, and what we need to do to ensure long-term success and growth and external accountability. Sixth, focus on leadership for change, the capacity to develop leadership in others in the e-lead team. And lastly, to foster coherence making. I need to be clear about how the big picture fits together. To develop an action plan, I needed to take the following into consideration. To acknowledge change as a process, an ongoing process that takes time. To empower stakeholders, include them in the decision-making process of how it may be modified or continue to meet the agreed objectives. The change process is guided by negotiation and information sharing. To encourage all stakeholders to be active, invested participants, and be given a chance to be heard. To set concrete goals that are set by consensus. To show sensitivity by respecting others and making them feel valued. To model process skills. To reflect publicly on the process. To develop strategies for dealing with emotions through honouring how people feel about the changes and how our lives will be different. To manage conflict by negotiation of issues. To communicate, to have open communication. And lastly, to manage change dynamics through ongoing evaluation throughout the process. The action plan contains 4 level focus areas based on the school's goals, targets and inquiry. Firstly, to develop the school ICT infrastructure for e-learning and communication. After researching and comparing Moodle to Google Classroom, it was decided to continue with a Google Classroom trial. This will be evaluated through SurveyMonkey for the staff and students and parents of those who took part. using the e-learning planning framework, technology and infrastructure dimension to formulate the questions. These results will be shared at a whole school staff meeting. Ask the staff to record what they see as the next steps forward. The shared results with students, parents on the school website with a link to a feedback form. If the outcome is a positive yes, then there will be a gradual implementation of the use of the new learning management system, starting with senior classes at the beginning of Term 3. To support the initiative, we needed to develop leadership capability to lead and sustain this change. The outcome of this would be an increase in staff using digital technologies in teaching, including Google Classroom, and as part of their inquiry goals. There would be co-leading of the trial of Google Classroom, and this trial will be reviewed and evaluated, and details of the next step would be co-constructed with staff. The next focus area is embedding teaching as inquiry to improve our practice and raise the achievement of students at risk of not achieving. At the beginning of the year, we supported teachers to make connections with the Charter goals to support teaching as inquiry. The staff feedback from this was supportive of the vision and the strategic direction we are taking. Professional development dates were set for 2015, and through these activities we should see the inclusion of e-learning in teacher inquiries and the impact of this on student achievement. The last focus area is professional development. Using the e-learning planning framework 2014, the professional learning dimension, to survey the e-lead team, it showed that professional learning needs to increasingly focus on digital literacy and using digital technologies for learning. This led to learning at lunch sessions for teachers on Google Apps for Education and Google Classroom, best practice workshops for all staff, using the Techsperts to provide Level 1 support to students and staff, and to explore and cost the development of a Genius Bar in the library. The new approaches I intend to use influence the action plan outlined previously, and these are to focus on the pedagogy of using technology to enhance student learning. At times, I also need to be authoritarian when providing compulsory professional development for all staff, which in turn supports the goal of actively promoting leadership development within the e-lead team and increasing e-lead team members' capacity, and this sharpened the focus of the technology teachers use, including building the current students' capacity as well, to include all stakeholders in decision-making while coupling transformational style delivery with a building consensus through participation. Using the leadership dimension of the e-learning planning framework 2014, I reviewed the way e-learning is integrated into the school vision, the leadership of e-learning, and how e-learning is integrated into strategic direction and policy. I plan to go back to this dimension and review again to see if I have moved towards an empowering leadership style. The leadership team, led by me, must have the necessary skills and capabilities to move the school through this process of change through ongoing reflection, evaluation and improvement, so that we can gauge where the school is at within the change process and what alterations are needed to ensure long-term success.